Hi, this is Craig Resnick coming to you from the 2024 ARC Advisory Group Orlando Forum. With me today is my special guest, Vinnie Strey, who's the Director of Manufacturing and Energy Vertical Marketing at HPE Aruba. How you doing today, Vinnie?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you, Craig.
You know, what does HPE Aruba do? And, what sets it apart from maybe other players in the industry?
We are a leading global networking vendor, and we try to provide our customers secure, reliable, and adaptable networks. I want to start with secure. And in terms of security, we've tried a lot for many years to build security features into our products, things like access points, switches, and also investments into new security tools, for example, like network access controls, things like a secure service edge, among other things. If I go back, for example, to the reliable side, we want to meet our manufacturing customers where they stand. So, I mean, we try to work with manufacturing companies that are cloud first to cloud last. So, I mean, be able to work with them and supply them with solutions that are aligned with the way they try to buy network solutions, like from traditional models to things like a network as a service. And we have to be also adaptable. So, and then it comes like the AI angle as well. So AI is core to the HPE Aruba mission, is core also to the Hewlett Packard mission as well. So when I say AI, is to make sure that networks are, let's say, self-reliant, self-adaptable, self-healing capabilities. And we do that by leveraging things like a supervised, unsupervised models as well.
Okay. You know, in the context of digital transformation in manufacturing, where discussions revolve around, new applications and use cases, for example, how does HPE Aruba kind of perceive the role of networking in facilitating and optimizing this transformation?
So to me, the manufacturing is really the unsung hero of digital transformation. So it's such a foundational element. So every single application in manufacturing requires the network. So it's just like any other utility, like electricity, it's like compressed air, among other things. But as we go down, for example, to the shop floor, you're going to see various protocols, various technologies, various types of equipment, OEMs, and so on. So it becomes very difficult to integrate. Applications don't do that. If our manufacturing customer wants to do that, sometimes they have to integrate gateway after gateway to integrate that. So we, as a network vendor, we have the commitment to be, let's say, the unified platform that is going to do that. So some of our customers, they have, let's say, SCADA systems that were built in 1995, connected through like a wired system. On the other hand, they have like the latest and greatest laptop in their headquarters. So we want to provide to our customer an environment where they can connect those two different assets in the same fashion and apply policies that are going to be consistent across the board.
That's good. Another topic we've certainly heard a lot about in manufacturing has been the use of 5G. And, what do you, from HPE Aruba perspective, what are some of the use cases that you see for 5G? And what do you see as its impact on industry?
Yeah, 5G is such an important topic for manufacturing and energy markets. I think those are probably two of the largest markets for private cellular going forward. I like to just kind of define that at this point, the 4G LTE still kind of dominates the 5G in terms of utilization. But we are going to see in the next 5-10 years, 5G kind of taking over, the private cellular market. And that's going to open so many capabilities. So for now, we see 5G pretty much providing, let's say, the high-speed mobile broadband, which is to a certain extent very similar to what Wi-Fi can do. And that's kind of the first question we are asked very often is, why should I use private cellular if I have Wi-Fi? When should I use one or the other? And the answer kind of varies depending on the application. So sometimes Wi-Fi is going to be the right solution, sometimes private cellular, sometimes both. And we see some of our manufacturing customers having those two overlays, Wi-Fi and private cellular. So depending on the application, they can use one or the other. Sometimes they have gantries where Wi-Fi doesn't perform well and they can use private cellular. Sometimes they have large facilities where private cellular works better, right? Another example is like the IoT side of things. So private cellular is allowing manufacturing companies to kind of get a lot of information to enable use cases like a remote monitoring, things like predictive maintenance, for example. And in the upcoming years, 5G is still kind of starting. We're going to see a lot more ultra reliable, low latency applications, things like vehicle to everything connections. We might even see private cellular enabling things like basic process control, like small control loops, right? 30 years ago, nobody would consider like wireless to do like a connection between sensors, actuators, and controlling processes, but we might see that in the future. So the future is really, really bright for private cellular manufacturing.
Yeah. Now that speaking of the future, certainly as manufacturing organizations are trying to navigate the balance between, on-premise and cloud-based workloads. Could you elaborate on how HPE Aruba, kind of helps to ensure that secure integration of on-premise network infrastructure in the cloud environment?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we are seeing manufacturing companies becoming cloud first for the most part, but we still have this very heterogeneous environment, right? Like I was saying, on one side, we have this legacy OT environment. On the other side now, we're going to have this cutting edge multi-cloud environment. So in the past, it used to be tightly air-gapped. Now we're kind of integrating those two environments and we're kind of stretching them, absurdly. So what's happening is that the traditional perimeter defense that we used to have just doesn't work that well anymore. So we have to consider and think that the threat is already in the environment. So instead of just protecting the perimeter, we are going to have to protect the applications and the assets. And we have to consider the network is still kind of number one control in manufacturing to protect assets. The way we are trying to protect the applications and assets is combining the network segmentation with something that we call the zero trust framework, which is really kind of taking the network segmentation and applying things like the identity-based access controls, right? So we can really kind of control the assets regardless if they're really on-prem, close to the shop floor, or they're, let's say, in the cloud.
Okay. And as we wrap up, what do you see asset owners can do now to become more future-proof as possible, kind of minimize the risk of significant network overhauls to accommodate the scale of digital transformation?
Yes. We see those two extremes in manufacturing. I mean, companies that feel compelled, to do like refreshes every couple months, every couple years. But we still see the other side, companies, running to failure. So we have to understand first that you don't have to kind of change your network every couple months or years, but you don't want to be on the other extreme, just kind of running things for 50, 40 years. And once that happens, you're going to be considering kind of upgrading your environment. So finding a good sweet spot, a good balance is probably the number one thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is about, the skill, upskilling your workforce. I mean, we know manufacturing is not the employer of choice for many network IT professionals. So be able to kind of empower them, train them in advanced network technologies is really paramount. The other thing is to really know your assets. You have to know your assets. Many manufacturing companies, they think they know, but sometimes they really don't know what's really running under the hood. And the final thing I want to highlight is the fact that you're going to have to think security first. I think security is going to be driving a lot of demands in manufacturing. So network and security are tightly integrated. So this kind of division that we had in the past, the CIO, CISO, they really have to kind of come together with the operations side of the business to kind of bridge the gap.
Well, that's excellent, Vinnie. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Craig.
I'm here with Vinnie Strey, Director of Manufacturing and Energy Vertical Marketing at HPE Aruba. And my name is Craig Resnick, coming to you from the 2024 ARC Advisory Group Orlando Forum. Thanks so much. Have a great day.